Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Today, we're gonna go over my approach to how I do dumbbell press. Now, I'm gonna do this on an incline so it's easier to see. Again, for me, I'm gonna do mostly 15-degree or 30-degree incline. My flat bench is 15-degree incline. Why? Because most of us are lacking in our upper chest, so best bang for you about 15 degrees. Now, when I do dumbbell press, and when I'm coaching people to dumbbell press, I'm trying to coach them in a way where they can control their body so they can isolate the chest. Again, when it comes to me and having the injuries that I do, the nagging, lagging injuries, for me to be able to successfully do a chest day, I have to make sure my body's in position so when I press, it's in alignment so I'm not feeling my shoulders off, my hips off, or anything that's going to distract me from being able to do a successful press. So let's just do this without weights. When we're laying on a bench, a couple things I want to think about from the get-go, and I'm always going to say from floor to core. Just as me sitting here right now, my legs are naturally, they kind of stack underneath my knees. So my heels and my knees are basically aligned with each other. Why? Because I have more push from here, right? If they're too far away, I don't have much push. From here, it's very simple and easier for me, and here's a little excessive, but I like to feel the entire ground underneath me. That's where I'm gonna get leverage right away. From here, what is a successful press? Again, we wanna basically make sure that when we're doing this press, that we come down to here and we get back up here. The challenge is getting to here without your shoulders being up here. And that's usually the issue is, why are my shoulders usually up here when I'm pressing? The pressing ends up being kind of like this and never really down here like this. You can see the difference in my body posture. Here, my traps are engaged. Here, my lats are engaged. So what is that saying to you? If we can connect to our lats and control our lats and engage them, it's going to create shoulder depression, which is going to set your shoulders in a way that they're going to run properly through the full range of motion with a good amount of stacking the joints and the entire load being on the chest. The second I start to do this, you can see where now that load is going from here and it's going up here. And we're using a lot more shoulder than we are chest. So how do we do this? If we have, a rack, get your weights to your knees. Get yourself in the back of the bench. And we're gonna go from here, our feet in here. Now, we're gonna have to adjust our feet after because we're gonna have to get these guys up. Now, how do we get these guys up? And look, some of you guys are like, man, easy, kick them up. It's not that easy, right? Because some people do this and they start, or some people try and just curl it up and then press. What we wanna do is, we're gonna be in a tight core. We wanna be tight, these close to our body and tight. Then when we kick the weight up, we're rolling back. We want to be as one. I want to be tight from the core, so when I kick this guy up and roll back, everything comes back with me, right? So we do one at a time. One to the next one after. 1, 2, and then get there. Now they're here, we're not starting yet. Because guess what? Our feet aren't where they need to be because I just finished kicking up 2 40-pound dumbbells. So we're going to readjust our feet so we can feel our feet flat on the ground. We're gonna feel our feet flat on the ground, our butt in the back of the bench. We're gonna engage the core slightly, but now from here, I wanna pretend I'm doing an inverted row, upside down. I've pulled the weight down. I'm pushing my elbows I'm pushing my elbows not down, but forward. I'm pushing them like this. And then I'm gonna adjust my dumbbells so I make sure my fists are facing the ceiling, and then I'm gonna open up on an angle from my elbows. I don't wanna just get here and then start pressing the weight up. I wanna get here first, open up. Now I'm tight. I can now open up a little more. There's tension on my lats. There's tension on my back. Now, when I say on my back, where am I feeling? I'm feeling the middle of my traps. Like not the top, but in the middle. So someone like put a spear through, I just don't put a spear through me. But if you could put a line, please editor, put a line through here. It goes through my sternum right down, and that's what's gonna create this, right? When I'm here in that position, my back is flat. Then we open up from here, and then we're just engaging the core, pressing from floor to core, and then driving up, right? On the way down, same thing. Chest is staying high. I'm feeling the middle of my shoulder blades pinching the bench so my shoulder blades are flat. And then from here, I let my elbows push open, riding it down, and then big chest, stacking the joint, then pushing back up. Now in my head, I'm also thinking that I'm doing an inverted row, because we essentially are. We are doing press because the weight is coming down, so when we put things up, it's getting that harder and obviously coming down. But I'm thinking I'm doing a row, so I'm pulling myself to the weight and then pushing. I'm pulling. You can see my posture. When I pull myself down, my chest comes up as if I'm pulling my chest to the bar and pressing, as if I was doing an inverted, basically upside down row. I've made this analogy a bunch of times. I want you to pretend a couple things. Number one, again, we're doing an inverted row. All right, that posture is gonna make my chest raise up and get more of a stretch where we want it. But at the same time, when I'm pressing up, I'm thinking about pushing myself into the floor. My arm is no longer really moving. Like, I'm not moving the weight up, I'm pushing myself back into the bench. Pulling myself up, pushing myself back. All right, I'm pushing myself into the bench, not pushing the weight off of my chest. And we get this. When we think about pushing the weight off our chest, we want to think about doing, again, making sure your back sits nice and flat on this bench. You could even do this without any weight. Do this. Let your shoulder blades sink back and away from your ears, and then try to kind of rock both ways. You really can't because you're flat. If I do this, I can rock all day long, right? I don't want to protract. I want to retract in the middle of my T-spine, my traps. I don't want to retract up here because then we get this. Protraction, retract. So shoulders back and away from your ears. That's going to give you the feeling of creating leverage from the ground. If I'm trying to push myself this way, I'm trying to push myself down. I'm trying to push myself in the back of this bench. And that's going to give you more power when you're thinking about doing this, rather than just think about lifting your weight off your chest. So from the top, what do we do? Well, we're going to make sure that we've grabbed the weight from wherever we grabbed them, from the rack, and we're not grabbing them from the ground. If you can do anything, make sure you're grabbing the dumbbells from the rack, walking back to your bench. Then weights already on your knees, and just sit your butt down. Again, we're gonna have to readjust our feet. So guess what we're gonna do? One at a time. Tight core, shoulders up and away, shoulders back away from your ears. Pop, pop. Adjust your feet, keep it tight. Now our lats are gonna get engaged. So I'm gonna push those elbows down this way. See what I did? I'm pushing them this way. And then from here, I'm opening up my arms just like about a 45-degree angle, or as where you're comfortable. You might be able to come out here, but just don't flare. Now from here, from floor to core, pushing the floor into my glutes, tight core, the joints are stacked, fists, wrists, and elbows are under the weight, pushing up, or push myself back into the floor. And then I'm doing the inverted row, pulling myself to the ceiling, big chest, now I'm pushing myself into the ground. Push. And while I'm pulling myself up, I'm breathing in. And then stretch, and then and there's how I approach doing dumbbell press. This is the way I have to do it, and most people should do it if they want to avoid any nagging injuries or nagging tweaks in your shoulders, your elbows. Again, listen to your body. There's no way around getting tweaks here and there when you're training very frequently, so make sure you're taking your rest days accordingly. But we're doing things a little slower, keeping in mind of making sure we're contracting the muscles around the supporting muscles to help isolate these movements. You'll find yourself more successful feeling the movement and then actually performing the movement. Anyway guys, for more videos like this, let me know in the comment section below. What else do you want me to go over thoroughly? And until next time guys, you know how it is. Iron sharpens iron. Iron sharpens iron. Progressive overload your life. In the meantime, keep dream chasing. Peace.